What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about.
What are you talking about?
I am talking to you.
That's just what I was talking about.
It's Talking Lamar.
When I was in high school, I don't know how everybody else's high school was. This was a very small high school. We had probably, our graduating class was probably 300 people. But we had for the yearbook, you had superlatives, most likely to succeed, most likely to go to jail, most likely, whatever. And so I had won the funniest. I was really going for the most handsome, but that did not happen. But anyway, you take what you can get. And so I was dating this girl, and she was from a neighboring town, and so I went to a dinner, and she had a brother that was a year older than her, and we're at this table, and there's probably a dozen people at the table. It's a big dinner. It's really nice. Everything's great, and I'm sitting there and being, whatever. And so right in the middle of everything, he goes, he said, my sister told me that in the superlatives, they picked you the funniest. And I said, yeah. He goes, say something funny for us. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It was the most awkward, which is what he wanted it to be. He wanted it to be the most awkward and uncomfortable. I mean, it was a killer. It was a killer. And, oh, God. And that dinner dragged on. It seemed like that dinner lasted for 4 hours. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
When you have to perform on cue, it makes it so much harder. I don't know how you and Sherry and Bob and all of you guys go in front of people and do that, because I'm not built that way. I'm like, let me go hide somewhere in the corner. If I attend events and I don't have a camera in my hand, I don't know how to function.
When you're sitting at a table with 11 other people and you don't know any of them except the girl that you're dating, and conversation comes to a complete halt, and it's dead silence after he said that, and everybody turns to look at oh my God. It was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah, not good. I posted on Facebook. We got a brand new baseball stadium in Spartanburg, which is a pretty big deal. I mean, it's a way bigger deal than I thought it was going to be. It's right downtown, where you can sit at the baseball stadium and you can see the Marriott and all the stuff downtown. And it's a big stadium. It's so well built. It is nice. They've got 2 or 3 different places to eat, as far as getting food and stuff. They got cocktails. It is jam up. And I think it seats about 3,000 or something like that. And right now they're doing, practice games and stuff like that. The official season hadn't opened up. It won't open up until the 15th, I think. But it's been sold out crowds every night. And I'm not a person, I do not watch baseball on TV. I don't watch baseball because on TV, and they play 1 million baseball games a year. I mean, everybody, that's all they're doing is playing baseball. But to go to a baseball game is really, really cool. And last night, it was so nice. The weather was good. It was a little chilly, but it was good. And the crowd was good. And it was really, Greenville, South Carolina, which is a larger city than where I live in Spartanburg. They've had a baseball stadium downtown like that for a few years, and it's been very good for them. And I think this is going to be very good for us. I can see myself going because it's so close. I mean, it takes me 10 minutes to get there. It's 50 yards away from where Carla works as far as real estate. So, it's been really good. It's been really, really good. So
I heard the new stadium in Greenville is really nice, that they're going to do some summer concerts there. Maybe?
Oh yeah. They are good friends of ours that we camp with. He bought 2 season ticket passes, and the cool part about that is he's got the season. Those tickets are always available to him. He can go. They're already paid for. And when they have concerts and stuff, he's still got those seats. He can still use those seats, and there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. That kind of stuff is what really makes a downtown really come alive. It makes all the difference in the world. And I ran across a couple of listeners that they live like you can see their apartment from the stadium. They've watched the stadium being built, and they've been really excited about it. And it's a really nice thing. Yes. David Ledford, you're asking me about how I met Bob and Sheri and how it came to be on the show. I'm sure probably 80% of everybody that's listening tonight already knows this story, but I'll give an abbreviated version of it. Many years ago, probably 29 years ago. It's around, best I can track it down is about 29 years ago. I was dating a lady, and she wanted to go to a concert in Charlotte. And so I got tickets. And so we went to the concert, and it was on a Sunday night, and it was great. And so we're driving back on Monday morning, and she's got her radio on the Bob and Sheri show, which I'd never heard of them. I didn't listen, didn't know anything about it. And so I'm listening to it, and they were doing a celebrity softball tournament, and just talking about some stuff and whatever. And it was very funny. It was very, very funny. So once I got home, I started listening to it from my office, and it was great. And back then they did the chat room, and that would be a full hour, and they would either throw out a subject or somebody would call in with a subject or whatever, and then they would get phone calls about it, and whoever told the best story would win something. So I called in, told a story, and I won something. And it was something like dance lessons in Charlotte or something like that. Well, I'm an hour or better away from Charlotte, so I'm not taking the dance lesson. So, but I would win stuff like that. And so every time I called with a story, I won a prize. So I didn't want to outstay my welcome. So I started off only called once a week. And if I called more than once, I would always make it to be 2 days between a phone call. And when I called, I would time myself, and I would never stay on more than 2 minutes, then I'm off. And so after a while, when I would call, I would tell Max it was me, and he would say, and what I did was after I quit telling stories, I started calling and commenting on other people's stories, making fun of them and being a general smartass, which is, that's sort of the gig, I guess. And so I would call, and Max would say, "What do you want to say?" And I would tell him, and he'd put me on. So after a couple of months of doing that, I would call, and he would say, "Is this you?" And I would say, "Yeah, it's me." And he would hold up this on his forehead, the Bob Sheri, which you can take that one of two ways. I don't know if he meant it was the loser that keeps calling or it was Lamar. But anyway, they would put me straight on, and so I'd say whatever. But I never called more than twice in 1 week. And I never stayed on more than 2 minutes. And so one day I won a spiral sliced ham. Now, I'm a man that would drive from Spartanburg to Charlotte for a spiral sliced ham. I mean, come on now. Come on. It's a spiral sliced ham. So I drove up there to get it. Well, they were doing an appearance at a grocery store chain. They were doing an appearance, and it was not too far from there. So I thought, okay, fine. So I went and got my spiral sliced ham, and then I went over to the grocery store. And this was their second cassette of Best of Bob and Sheri. This is only they did one the year before, but this was their second year, and they did a cassette. And so I stood in line and bought the cassette. And so they would autograph the cassette for you. So Sheri said, "Who do I make this out to?" And I said, "Well, make it out to Lamar." And she said, "Are you that guy that keeps calling us?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "At this point now, I'm stalking you at grocery stores." I talked to him for about 30 seconds, and then I left. And so I continued to call, and they continued to answer. So one morning I called, and Bob had laryngitis. And so Sheri came on to the phone while the commercial break, and she said, "Bob's got laryngitis." She said, "Will you come on and co-host the show with me for the chat room? And I said, yeah, okay. So I'm in my car on a cell phone. So I'm just riding around Spartanburg, talking on the phone and co-hosting the show with her. And so when I went home for lunch, my answering machine, that's how long ago it's been. There used to be this thing, it was an answering machine, and it was square, and it was hooked up to your phone line, and you could leave a message. That's what that was. And so I came home and my light was on, and it was Max, and he was saying, Bob has still got laryngitis. Can you come to Charlotte and do it live in the studio? And I said, yeah. So I went in the next morning and went in and sat down in the studio and put the headphones on, and we started talking. And at that point, they gave me a private number to call so I could get straight through. And we did that. And not long after that, it got syndicated. And I started going with them to the syndicated places, and it was really cool. The most interesting thing about being there that first day is, if y'all listen to the show closely, and back then especially, no matter what this topic was, when somebody was talking about something, within 5 seconds, it seemed like Max would have the absolute perfect song playing underneath it. And I was amazed at that. So I thought, man, I can't wait to see how he does that. Well, I was thinking it was some sort of automated thing or whatever. I'm sitting there, got the headphones on, and we start talking, and somebody starts talking about a certain subject. Max grabs a big CD folder, like a notebook, and it's got like 4 CDs on each page. And he's ripping through there, grabbing a CD and slamming it in and hitting it in the perfect song. I mean, every time. And he had that down pat. He knew exactly where everything was. He knew exactly what he was looking for. And later on down the road, they did make an automated thing that he could put in, and then he could, find it a little bit easier. But he was doing every bit of that on the fly. He's an amazing producer. He really, really is. I mean, to watch him do that, I was just like slack jawed. I mean, it was amazing. But
you can't say enough about how terrific Max is and how intelligent. Yeah. Like, one of the best producers in our industry. I'm convinced. He's just never gotten the accolades.
Oh yeah, he is perfect. Tanya, no, not Tanya. Who was it? Well, hold on, I just missed it. Tammy. No, I didn't do anything at a Hornets game. I did it at the Checkers hockey game. I had to race, I don't know, some deal on the ice or whatever. I did something there. I didn't win, so, but yeah, I did something there. I was always up for pretty much anything. So, I mean, it was really cool because once they got syndicated, they were going to all these different places, and finally they were going to a station in upstate New York, and the guy said, can you bring that Lamar guy with you? And they called me and said, can you go? And I said, well, yeah, I can go. And at that time, Jefferson Pilot owned the station, and that's how we had access. We like to call it the good old days. We had access to the private jet. Those were the good old, I mean, gosh, it was so cool to travel in a private jet. But they could take me because it didn't cost them anything. They weren't having to buy extra tickets or anything. So I started traveling with them, and on the way back, and we've been doing this for a couple of years at that point, and on the way back, Sheri said, she goes, are we paying you anything? And I said, no, not right now, you're not. And so we worked it out so I could be a contracted employee, and for a whole $25 a week or something. I forget what it was. It was, it was, it wasn't life-changing money. But the joke's on her, because I would have paid her $25 a week to let me do it. That's how much I love doing it. And I was able to do it. I was able to do the show and all the stuff at Budweiser. My boss was really, he was pretty cool about it. And, every once in a while, the Anheuser-Busch people would come through, and we had a corporate office in Charlotte, and so they all listened to the show. So they would come in, and I got to meet them, and they were everything like that. So he was really cool about it. So I was very fortunate to have a job where I had that kind of freedom to do, whatever. So
yeah.
And so basically, like I say, I've been auditioning for this for close to 30 years, 29 years. So, let's see, and it paid off. So if it's something you want to do, dang, don't give up on it. Just
perseverance.
It might take a while, but sooner or later, it worked out. So, Lynn wants to know my favorite story about my mom. Somebody already said they didn't want to hear the pinky toe story where she broke the pinky toe, but my mom was a champion. I mean, she was a champion. Um, my dad, when he was not drinking, was a great guy. He was a great guy. When he was drinking, not so much. But my mama took care of everything. My mama she was the deal. She was the absolute deal. I come first in everything that she did, and yeah, she was a hoss. But she was an ass kicker too. Now, oh my God, she was an ass kicker. I mean, she didn't take, pardon my language, she didn't take no shit from nobody, and especially from a kid. There was no back talking. There was none of that. When I was a grown man with my own young'uns, I would have never said a crossword to my mama because she'd have took me down. I mean, she was that kind, but she was awesome. She really was, and she adapted to so many things and persevered through so many things. What made the story about the Christmas morning so poignant and funny at the same time was my daddy hadn't done nothing about doing anything for Christmas, not one thing. But then he wants to roll in and wake everybody up at 4 o'clock in the morning to see what Santa Claus has brought. And my mama, when we're all in there, and that's when she woke up, and we're all in there seeing what Santa Claus brought, and she was hot. God, she was hot. That's when she come through the hallway of the trailer, and everything was going great till that one, the pocket doors, that one pocket door was out about that much and caught that pinky toe on her right foot. She could say some words. She could say some words. She was a wonderful woman and a lady and everything else, but she could say some words, and she sure did.
During Christmas time, there was a story of a woman who her husband did not wake her up for the kids opening all the presents that she wrapped and picked out for everybody on Christmas. So he let the kids get up and open the presents and then left her sleeping. So she missed
That's
and
wrong.
she was heartbroken. And he didn't understand why she was upset. He didn't understand why she was upset at all.
Yeah, well, Kat, you're talking about Kat Kane says that she used to think it was charming when I'd be on the phone and something would happen, the buzzer would come off on the show. I'd have to let the truck in. I would be doing a movie review. I'd be doing something, and a truck would pull up at the gate, and they'd hit the buzzer, and it'd ring off, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we had a lot of different.
We call that ambiance.
Yeah, we call that. That's right. I did some movie reviews while I was riding a forklift, and I mean, yeah. So it was pretty good. Sandra, how did my mom and daddy meet? My daddy worked construction, and my mama lived up in the mountains, Kennesaw, Georgia, and he was working construction, and they met. And I can let's see if I can hold on. This is a picture of my mom and my dad and my brother Troy and me. It was probably hard for the photographer to catch a point when my mouth was closed because I was but yeah, they met like that, and they traveled. The reason we lived in a trailer is my father, he built bridges, he ran bulldozers and cranes and that kind of stuff. And so they traveled a lot. So they pulled a trailer. And so when he finally settled down to stay in one spot, that's why we were in a trailer. We were in a trailer for quite a few years till we built a house across the road.
Lamar, are there going to be any of your mom's recipes in the cookbook?
Oh, yeah, there is. There's going to be some recipes in there. Her mayonnaise biscuit recipe, her cornbread dressing recipe. There's a couple of things. I've got different recipes from different members of the family and whatever. We got some listeners that's got recipes in. Most of the recipes are pretty simple. I mean, my stuff's usually really, really simple. But yeah, And I make the biscuits. They're still not the same as my mama because I'm measuring stuff. She never measured anything. I mean, it was everybody's mama's that way. They could whatever they made, they did it so often they knew what they were doing. And yeah,
My
yeah.
my grandma makes this macaroni and cheese like bake, and it's got macaroni cheese and then like a tomato paste on top of it, and it
Ooh,
is only good when she makes it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I only like it when she makes it.
yeah.
Um,
Jason Tannery's talking about the story of when my mama would guilt trip me, and she did. I mean, she did. She was. I would think that we probably should have been a Jewish family with the guilt part. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, she knew how to do it, but she was always looking for us to come visit, or looking for my brother to come visit, and he and I lived basically the same amount of space. Like he's on one end of it, and so we're on either side. She's right in the middle. And so, sometimes we would try to meet up there together, or sometimes we'd rotate times to go. But out of the clear blue sky, I'd get a phone call on a Sunday morning, and it'd be my mama. And I'd say, hello. And she'd go, hello. And I'd say, hey, mama. She goes, well, you've answered the phone, so I guess you're not coming today. And I said, well, mama, I wasn't scheduled to come today. She goes, I know, but I was sitting here in the chair looking out the window. I was thinking, maybe y'all are coming today. And I'm thinking, maybe y'all are getting ready to pull up. But now that I've called you, I know you're not in the car. So you're not coming. Oh my God. I mean, it was horrific. It was horrific. And this happened quite often. Finally, one day I called my brother and I said, let me ask you a question. I said, does mama ever call you? And he goes, in his voice, he goes, are y'all coming today? Because I'm looking out the window and I'm waiting for y'all to come. Oh, it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. It'd get to a point where when that phone, and I'd have to listen to her, and she would be just making me feel awful. And I was married to my first wife at that time. And she'd say, who is it? And I'd just shake my head. And I would hold up my fingers while I got the phone up to my ear, and I'd go, because I was almost to the point of suicide. Because I mean, it was
so
terrible.
sad.
I mean, she could do it. She could do it. But I tell that story, but I never tell that story that I don't always say. I'd give anything if that phone would ring one more time. I do. So, stop. If your mama wants you to go see her, you need to go see her. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to move on to something else. Y'all have a great evening. We love y'all. Thank you so much.